The Commonwealth Bank International, nice to have the company of John Fitzgerald once again. Fitzy, Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras, two of the really great rivals in world tennis, and fittingly they meet in this final.
A perfect culmination, wouldn't it be? We just saw Colin Stubbs a minute ago. He had a smile on his face. It is the promoter's dream, this match. They've played so often, they've had so many classic matches, and I'm sure today will be the same.
An extraordinary record on both sides of the net. Pete Sampras is gunning for his 64th title, of course 13 Grand Slams, and Andre Agassi, the 31-year-old, he's approaching his 50th title. Enviable records.
Well, I saw them play at the US Open just a couple of months ago, Sandy, in the quarterfinals, and that was a classic. It brought the house down. Sampras got over the top on that occasion, but you never know with these two, it can go either way.
Let's have a look and see how both players made it through to the final. Andre Agassi had an excellent start, a relatively easy match for him over Taylor Dent, 3-2, and then defeated Thomas Enqvist in 3, losing the second in a tiebreak. Pete Sampras?
Well, he had a fairly straightforward week, didn't he, really? He beat Alex Corretja comfortably, 4-6. And then yesterday, in difficult conditions, some of the most difficult he's ever played in, he said, he beat Scott Draper, and they nearly both got blown off the centre court, but in the end, he prevailed.
I think in the end he called it a guessing game, but he did take it out 6-2, 7-6. The breeze is not as fierce today. It's a sunny day, a few clouds overhead, but I think we're going to be in for a great final here at Kooyong. This is the 33rd time they've met. Sampras has won 18, Agassi 14. Do you want to jump off the fence and give us a prediction before we go to a break?
Look, I thought the preparation for Andre was slightly better. He had a very difficult match against Thomas Enqvist in the second match this week for him, in hot conditions too, so he's had a day's rest, he'll be ready. But between these two, you cannot pick. They're so close.
You stay on the fence.
I will.
Andre Agassi, incidentally, has won this event for the last 2 years, and he's then gone on and won the Australian Open. That may tell us something. But they'll be back with us here on 7 right after the break. For this Commonwealth Bank International final between Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi, and it's great to see so many fans offering their support to this particular event. And why wouldn't you come out and see two of the greatest players that the game has seen? Pete Sampras, the winner of 13 Grand Slams, 63 career titles, but interestingly enough, has not won a tournament now since Wimbledon 2000. But he is one of the legends of the sport, and he finished the champions race in 10th place last year, Pete Sampras. And his opponent, Fitzy, also awesome, Andre Agassi.
Yeah, his opponent, only one of 5 players ever in the history of the sport to win all 4 major Grand Slams. That's the Australian, the French, Wimbledon and the US Open, and this man has done it. Once at Wimbledon, 3 times at the Australian, once at the French, and twice at the US Open. So what a record he has also, and there's no doubt that these two players on court this afternoon have been by far and away the best players in the world of the last decade, and they are 2 of the best players of all time.
Agassi defeating Dent and Enqvist on his way to the final. Sampras defeating Corretja and Draper. Pete Sampras.
Sampras to serve.
Opening proceedings, serving first game.
Love 50.
Called his match yesterday a guessing game, courtesy of the wind. He called it Cyclone Kooyong. Not as severe today, but still very gusty.
Love 30.
Well, even with the firepower that Pete Sampras has, you better be on your game early against Agassi, because he returns better than anyone. Maybe the only one that can compare at the moment is Leighton Hewitt, but this guy is lethal from the back of the court. You better be ready to hit some tough volleys, Sandy, and particularly off your ankles.
And he's one of those players that doesn't take a game or 2 to warm up, Andre. He's ready to go right from the first ball.
15-40.
Well, I'm not sure if I've ever seen Pete do that before. Ever. A complete mishit there on that second serve. A little bit of breeze. Maybe still thinking about the cyclone Kooyong yesterday, but that's unusual. Extremely so.
30-40.
Straight back into perfect rhythm.
Game Agassi, first game.
So Agassi out in style in this first game, breaking Pete Sampras. Extraordinary to think that this is their 33rd meeting. Sampras in the head-to-head leads 18-14, but of those 32 meetings, 15 of them have been finals. It certainly shows their dominance of world tennis since they first met in 1989.
Andre Agassi to serve. Fifteen love. Love.
Looks sharper, Andre, doesn't he? He's hitting the ball in the middle immediately. Pete looks a tiny bit rusty at the beginning here.
Love. Game Agassi.
Hold serve to Love. Positive start.
Agassi leads 2 games to love.
Both of these players have been coming here to Kooyong since 1995. It's amazing to think this is the first time they've actually played in a final here.
Yeah, a little bit more zip on that second serve. And Pete that time, like the cat that we know he is, in a position very quickly. Look at the early preparation here. He was there with plenty of time for that backhand volley.
Love. First up. Love.
First ace of the match, and a much better service game unfolding here for Sampras. First serve, holding him in good stead. He holds, but Agassi has the early break and leads 2 games to 1.
Agassi leads 2 games to 1.
Well, the word is well and truly out that 2 of the world's legends in tennis are on show at centre court at Kooyong, because this crowd is continuing to pour in And dear old Kooyong, who's been done up a treat this week, I would suggest Fitzy is almost 3/4 full, and it's fantastic to see. They're watching Andre Agassi serving, leading 2-1 in the first.
Fifteen love.
Got an idea Pete might have been pondering a call.
That's as good as asking a question, isn't it?
It certainly is. He's such a great sportsman. He just has a look.
Love.
Agassi yet to make an unforced error in this match. Oh, there's one.
30-15.
In the form of a double fault. You don't see many double faults, and you certainly don't see many unforced errors from this man.
Second serve. Ow! 30 all.
Well, 2 and 2 points. Unusual. These guys just know each other's same game so well, though. They almost know what shot the opponent's going to hit. Yeah, clever from Sampras. The beautiful curving forehand down the line, setting up the easy drop volley.
30-40.
That one there was what really won him the point. This is good touch, and he just catches Agassi off guard. Agassi had his body weight stagnant. He wasn't moving forward expecting that one.
Break back point.
Juice.
Well, Pete not getting the forehand in exactly where he wanted it. That was just asking for trouble. Hitting that ball back firmly straight to the Agassi backhand when you're out of court.
Advantage Agassi. Game Agassi.
So Andre
Agassi leads
extricates
3
himself
against 1.
on the possible break.
That ball was shooting off the line there a little bit. Caused Pete to completely miss-hit that return.
Sampras serving now at 1-3.
Love.
He's worked so hard, Pete, since coming out to Australia. He's worked with Brett Stephen and Alex Stober, fitness advisors. His coach, Tom Gullickson, has taken over from Paul Annacone, making a real effort.
30 love.
A real effort to try and win his third Australian Open. He was successful in 1994 and 1997. And he's about to contest his 11th Australian Open.
Tough to do anything forceful with that half volley. When the returns are wrapped around your ankles, Pete trying to keep the half volley a little deeper there. You couldn't quite get a hold of it enough, and it's just short on the Agassi backhand and a simple down the line pass.
(40-50).
Three aces, one double fault early on for Pete.
Game,
and
Sampras.
he holds serve. Sampras is down a break with Agassi leading 3-2 in the first set.
Agassi leads 3-2.
It's interesting to hear Pete Sampras talking about the sport that he's virtually given his life to. He says now that he's not as consumed by the sport as he was when he was 21, 22, 23. Has a slightly different focus on it, but still fiercely competitive. He's facing Andre Agassi.
Love.
Well, the old saying, you only need an inch of daylight, is probably true for Andre Agassi. Not a huge gap down that forehand side of Sampras's, but he knocks it off easily.
40 love.
And he continues to look sharp, Andre, in the early stages.
Game, Agassi.
Can't look much sharper than that. He brings up his first ace. Holds serve to Love.
Agassi leads 4-2.
Incredible to think the first time that this pair met was in Rome on clay way back in 1989.
Love 50.
And on that occasion, Andre Agassi won in straight sets, 6-2, 6-1. And an idea of how quickly they rose in the sport. A year later, they were playing each other in the final of the US Open. Extraordinary.
Well, Pete there looked his normal casual self as he came in to hit that volley. He had plenty of time for the forehand volley, but
30.
In the end he doesn't quite do enough with it. And Agassi was there. Probably needed to try and penetrate a bit more with the forehand volley on that occasion, Sampras. You can't give Agassi too many hits at the ball.
30 all.
Certainly looked like he had tons of time on that forehand volley, Sampras, but still got to put something on it against Agassi, or you can pay for it. But then again, you can just serve your way out of trouble. Two aces from 15-30. That makes it hard for a guy who's trying to return.
That's 5 aces already in the match.
Deuce.
On that occasion, Sampras actually took a bit of a swing at that forehand volley. That might have been the contributing factor to him catching it a fraction late.
The serve.
Oh, that's a classy point from both players. Yeah. An enormous second serve from Sampras. Somehow Agassi jags it back at the feet.
Sampras.
And from there, they both played just tremendous stuff. Look at that touch from Sampras.
Game.
Sampras holds 3 aces in that match. 6 for the game.
Agassi leads
6 for the match, I should say. 4-3, first set, Agassi. This pair has produced over the years. You only got to go back to last year's US Open quarterfinal. Sampras won it in 3 tiebreakers.
Well, it's not too often Pete Sampras gets caught there. He's so athletic. Did everything right, really. Couldn't quite put enough on that one. Agassi gets his full face of the racket, and Sampras normally back quickly for those smashes. I think maybe the wind there was a contributing factor.
Well, Agassi is fairly racing through his service games. When he gets his first serve in, he wins the point every time.
Game Agassi.
Every time so far in this match.
Agassi leads 5 games to 3.
And I'm sure this very big crowd here at Kooyong would just like him to slow down a bit and see a really good contest over a period of time.
15 love.
Well, part of the reason you do see a great spectacle with these two players, apart from the fact that they are great players, is that they do have contrasting styles. And Agassi is inclined to go full steam ahead from start to finish. Pete stops and starts a little bit more. Now, Sampras is the one that will be going along seemingly in second gear for a while, and all of a sudden the foot will hit the floorboards and he'll accelerate wide and hit a screaming forehand winner that opens up a game. He's that type of athlete, explosive athlete. Andre is like a bulldozer from start to finish.
That's as good as an ace, unplayable. So you're saying that Sampras is probably someone who likes to win 4 and 4, whereas Agassi, if he can get love and love, he'll take it.
I think they both like to win. There's no question about that. I'm not sure whether they mind, really.
Yeah, well, Sampras.
He's producing ace after ace. That's number 7, and he holds serve and he stays in the first set. Agassi leading 5-4.
Well, that was a dangerous looking return, wasn't it? Andre serving to the forehand, Pete getting a good swing at it. Agassi does well to keep this ball back in the middle of the court, and Pete overplays this one, but the first forehand looked a little bit ominous.
Well, an opportunity for Sampras to perhaps take this first set to a tiebreaker. Chance to level at 5-all.
For serve. Juice. Advantage Sampras. Game. Sampras.
And Sampras breaks back. Much to the delight of this huge Kooyong crowd.
5 games all.
He levels the first set at 5-all.
Well, I think in that game there was more blood flowing through the veins of Pete Sampras. You could see there was a bit more of a jump in his step.
He produced one of those spurts you were talking about.
One of those to the floorboard. It was the accelerator, Sandy.
15 left.
And he can catch you off guard. You know, he'd enabled Andre just to cruise through the first set up until that stage. And sometimes that can lull you a little bit, and all of a sudden he puts the accelerator down, and you've got to go with him. It's not easy.
30 left.
Thought that was wide, and so did Andre.
Well, he's been credited with his 8th ace.
See if we can get a bit of a look at it. It's fast, tough to see on that replay, but Agassi certainly thought it was wide.
That one wasn't.
40 left.
Can you imagine 9 aces in the first set so far? This is his 6th service game.
10.
Sampras.
Power serving from Pistol Pete. And now all of a sudden he's got his nose in front at 6-5.
6 games to 5.
Pete Sampras back on track. Finished in the top 10 for the 12th consecutive year last year. That in itself is an extraordinary sporting achievement. Agassi not far behind him, but he's serving now to force the tiebreak.
For serve. 15 left. Left.
Hasn't been firing them down with the regularity that Sampras has. His 3rd ace. Sampras has 10.
Oh, that's casual.
Agassi.
One way to bring up the tiebreaker.
He can do that in his sleep, Andre.
6 games all.
And believe it or not,
Tiebreak.
that's not an easy shot. He took that on the back foot. He's got such hand-eye coordination and racket head control that it was almost as if he could do it in his sleep. Tiebreaker.
This is the
1-0. Agassi.
third tiebreaker for Sampras this week. He's won his first 2, one against Correction, one against Draper. Agassi's figured in only 1, and he lost that to Enquist.
(2-0) Agassi. (3-0) Agassi.
Pete indicating there he got a little bit too close to that one. Didn't give himself enough room. He's upset at that. He's only down 1 mini break.
Not up, unfortunately for Andre.
3-1 Agassi.
Pete there on the balls of his feet, not committing until Agassi's hit the ball.
4-1 Agassi.
Make that 3-2.
Real.
An ironic cheer. Central umpire there, Troy McKernan, just calling a wrong score, saying it was 4-1 prior to that point.
After the Sampras ace, his 11th.
Yeah, and Pete just reminding him that it was 3-2 in fact.
So he's got it back on track. 3-all. Agassi with a serve to come.
Goodness. Agassi.
I'm not sure about that either. I'd say that ball was on the line. That's just my guess here. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, right on top of the line. Players usually know it's instinct. Andre certainly had his doubts, didn't he?
And I think Pete's probably had the rougher end of the calls in this first set.
The serve.
Oh, he was about to bring up the even dozen aces.
(5-4) Sampras. Second serve.
Oh, yes. Well, for all the money, I thought Agassi was going to go across court there. I thought he was shaping to hit the ball back across.
5-all.
I've got a feeling Pete thought so also. He had plenty of time. He could have gone either way. Pete was leaning a little bit to his backhand, and that's too good. 5-all.
No! 6-5. Agassi.
And getting caught again, Sampras, into the body with the second serve. That drew that error.
So it's the Sampras serve to come, but Agassi has set point.
Six all.
Saved. So again, they will change ends at 6-all.
Seven, 6. Sampras.
It's going to be so interesting, Fitzy, to see if in fact this year there is somewhat a changing of the guard, the old and the young guns at the Australian Open. I'm sure these two will have a big say. We're not done with yet.
Game end, first set, Sampras.
What a turnaround.
7 games to 6.
Pete Sampras takes the first set. 8 points to 6 in the tie-break. Batting first set with Andre Agassi very quickly out of the blocks, breaking Sampras in his first service game. But Pete Sampras has steadied as the set progressed. Was able to break back, force the tie-break and win it 8 points to 6. So it's Agassi now serving to start the second.
$15 love. $15 all. $30-15. $40-50. The serve.
Another nervous one there. Nervous call. But corrected immediately, which of course the players appreciate. They'd prefer if there was no call at all, but replay the point.
Game Agassi.
Agassi begins the second set as he did the first, holding serve in comprehensive fashion.
Set.
Do you think there'll be a changing of the guard at the Australian Open, Fitzy?
I think there's about 5 or 6 players who can win, and I've no doubt that one of these 2 players can win. You'd be crazy to say they couldn't. And I'd venture to say ignorant. I mean, there's no question they can win, either of these 2. But there's a few youngsters who can too, Sandy, no question about that either.
Another old bloke by the name of Kafelnikov. Pretty hard battler.
Yeah.
Sure he'll be thereabouts.
15 love.
But Hewitt, Roddick, Federer, young guns really starting to blaze. Sebastian Grosjean.
30 love.
Batters Sampras' 12th ace.
Oh, clever play. You know, Pete was off balance there, and he had the presence of mind just to keep his racket in the right place.
Love.
Just out of position slightly. He was left reaching for that ball, but had enough feel to be able to still drop it over deftly.
(40-15).
First serve percentages almost identical. Agassi 66, Sampras 65.
(40-30).
Second double fault for Pete Sampras. And that drops in.
Juice.
Great accuracy, isn't it? Just take that ball early off a Sampras first serve and have the ability to control it with accuracy. Yeah, well, he had some options, Andre. So even though Pete played a pretty darn good drop volley there,
Agassi.
problem is Agassi's already on the baseline, and he only has to take about 6 steps, and he's there. He could have gone across court with that one as well, break point.
Juice.
Well, the running Sampras forehand is lethal.
Advantage Sampras.
One of his most spectacular shots, Pete Sampras. He's way out of court, and when he gets a chance to run at the forehand, boy, can he generate some power.
Juice.
Well, almost a carbon copy of a few points ago. Agassi there, short backswing, meeting the serve early. Not quite so difficult with the Sampras second serve, but still a tough shot. Yeah, clever. He held that one. He was shaping up to hit that across court, Agassi.
Advantage Agassi.
At the last second, just delays his swing and eases it down the line for another break point.
Game Agassi.
And there's the break. An identical start to the first set, with Agassi breaking
leads 2 games to love.
the opening service game of Sampras.
$15 love. For serve. $30 love.
Pete can't believe that.
What?
He cannot believe it.
Yeah, you saw it clearly, huh? Take up the damn shade, maybe you can see the wall.
He's asking Troy McKernan.
Outside of the line. Think it's funny?
He's a little bit testy, isn't he, Pete?
My word.
$40 love.
Mind you, when your serve's just been broken for the second time in as many sets, you're not going to be too ecstatic anyway.
Game Agassi.
But he's certainly had a few words with umpire Troy McKernan as Agassi holds and leads 3 love in the second.
3 games to love.
Pete Sampras certainly not happy during that third game of this second set. Having words with umpire Troy McKernan. In fact, he's gone back to his chair. Really to pick up a new wristband. Sampras now serving with new balls, but yet to get on the board in the second set.
15 love.
Just waiting for another question there. But it doesn't come from Pete. I think he might have thought that might have touched the line as well.
30 love.
Well, I've got to say, this big crowd, not quite capacity, but not far away. I think they'd like to see 3 sets. Nothing against Pete. They just want to see more of both of these guys.
My word. Who can blame them?
Yeah, solid. What a beautiful chip into the corner there from Sampras.
40 love.
Just with ease. Just eases it into the corner. And a little bit of venom in that smash. Beautiful overhead.
For serve. Game, Sampras.
An excellent service game from Pete Sampras.
Well, that half volley was pure class.
Yeah.
Agassi leads 3-1.
So he's on the board in the second set. Agassi has a qualifier in his first round match in the Open. There it is once again. Look at that. Delightful pickup.
Delightful. Perfect description.
15 love.
Pete Sampras meets Finland's top player, Jarkko Nieminen. That won't be easy.
$30 love.
You talking about the match or pronouncing the name?
Both.
$40 love.
A great angle from Agassi. Uses all parts of the court with his ground strokes. Gets Pete right off the court here, and Sampras can't quite get enough of that last forehand to do any damage with it. Great game from Agassi.
Game, Agassi.
Well, the Sampras service game prior was excellent.
Agassi leads 4-1.
Agassi mirrored that. 4-1, second set. This second set moving along in a similar vein to the first. Sampras very keen to try and break back, but first things first, he's got to hold serve, make sure that he holds serve here. Agassi with the one break. Sampras serving at 1-4 after taking the first. In that first set, he served 11 aces. He's served 2 so far in this set. Maintaining that strike rate of 11 a set's perhaps a little too much to ask.
$30 love. $40 love.
Thought for a moment we're going to see the famous jump smash.
Yeah, just taunting us all there a little bit. Shaping up to. He knew all along, Pete, that that ball was carrying out over the baseline. Great volley.
Another excellent game.
Agassi leads 4-2.
Just put a little bit extra on that volley by a flick of the wrist. It wasn't a conventional standard type of forehand volley. Hit it flatter than most. Just rolled the wrist slightly at the point of impact to give it a little bit of extra zip to get the ball away from Agassi. Great talent.
Love 15.
Well, he's going to make a move, Pete, in this set. Here's possibly his chance. Love 15. Always a bit unsettling to start a service game with a double.
His second for the match.
Yeah, and he steps in, goes for the lower percentage return, and it only just cleared the net. In fact, clips the tape as it goes past, but he steps in here inside the baseline, takes a risk, but it opens up a bit of a gap here. Love 30.
15-30.
Well,
15,
an unusual
40.
miss, Sandy.
And this does open up a gap. Break back point, in fact, 2 of them for Pete Sampras.
30-40. Deuce.
Well, that's the risk you take. Pete did exactly the same thing on that second serve as he did on the love 15 point. At love 15, he made it down the line that time. Tried to step in again and mishit it.
Advantage Sampras.
I think this is clean living. A little bit of luck going Pete's way. Another break point.
Wow.
Sampras.
Now that is very unusual. Two double faults in that game for Andre Agassi, allowing Sampras to break back and trail 3-4. Kooyong has been done up an absolute treat. The old girl might be getting on in years, but my word, she can still dress up, Fitzy. She looks very smart this week, and Colin Stubbs and his team have done a great job in getting this tournament to today. And we've only got to look around the stands. It's almost a full house, a wonderful atmosphere. Sampras and Agassi battling it out.
15 love.
Those two names are an absolute recipe for tennis success. 13 aces so far to Sampras. Make that 4.
40 love. $40-50.
Well,
40.
I don't see Pete Sampras miss too many of those.
Two errors in a row on the backhand side. The ground stroke first at love 40, and then that one. Needs to try and close this out now.
Sampras.
And he does. So he's got the second set back on an even keel.
4 games all. $15 love.
Well, I was about to compliment Sampras's forehand. I thought his was a beauty. But in the end, all it does is give Agassi more room to hit the angle.
40 love.
Yeah, these two guys forehand to forehand. They can do some damage off that wing, both of them. Oh, what a
Game Agassi.
Right down the line as Agassi holds and leads 5-4 in the second.
5 games to 4.
Are we heading towards our second straight tiebreaker? Pete Sampras has been able to break back. He's now got a serve to level to stay in this second set. Serving at 4-5.
The breeze is a little tricky down there. It doesn't appear to be blowing that hard, but in the horseshoe-shaped stadium, it does tend to swirl a little bit. Both players miss hitting a couple there. No miss hit there, though. Agassi pounces on it. And because he's so far up the court, inside the baseline, in fact, see how far up he is here. He gets to this ball, and as he hits it, he's inside the baseline, and that ball is back so quickly because of that. It's tough to cover.
30-50. Again, Sampras. Five games off.
This match has been in progress for a little over an hour.
Bit of a wrestle for the ball there in the crowd as it went over into the lower tier.
30 love.
Agassi, as you'd expect, up in the high 60s, 68% with his first serve into play. That's normal for him. Pressing a bit too much with that one, though. Double fault number 4.
Agassi holds, and we're heading towards our second straight tie-break. Nothing new for these new players.
Agassi leads
6-5. Agassi's away in the second set. 1 hour and 11 minutes. It's now been in progress. 6-5 second set, and the world media focusing their attention on these two and just getting the lenses ready, no doubt, for the next fortnight and the Australian Open. At the moment, though, Pete Sampras is concerned with holding serve to force the second straight tiebreaker.
Second serve. 15 love.
There's that clever forehand volley again. Crisp as ever. Not really that orthodox, this one. He rolls the racket head over the top of it a bit, just to generate a tiny bit more speed. Make sure it goes for the winner. Oh, goodness, that's clever too.
40 love.
I think maybe the wind made this a little bit more awkward than Pete expected, and he had to really struggle to get to it in the end, but that was a deliberate shot. He went for that drop volley. Great feel, 40 love.
$40-50. 40-30. Deuce.
Well, 3 opportunities let slip by. He was cruising at 40 love.
Well, I think it's always worse too, Sandy, when it gets to juice after you've led 40 love.
Yep.
If it's been 30 all or 15-30 and you get to juice, it doesn't feel quite so bad, but mentally a little tough here at juice. Not for Pete, maybe.
Advantage Sampras.
Technique is so sound that he knows he can produce almost the same serve every time when he needs it.
Deuce.
Well,
that just means that all great technique has a chink occasionally.
I was wondering what you were going to come up with to get out of that. 14 aces, 3 double faults. Back to deuce.
Correction ball's good. First up.
Give me that for you, Ted.
Advantage Sampras.
Come on.
Well, now it's Agassi who was asking the umpire not to give him that horse manure.
Well, let's see if we can see it. And I think Andre's got a point.
Yeah.
I mean, was it the pressure that Pete imparted a few games ago on Troy from Kernan in the chair, or not?
Deuce.
Agassi, I think, just making a point. Troy McKernan's having an interesting day in the chair. Back to deuce.
That's good.
Advantage Sampras.
Nothing wrong with that. Number 15.
And Pete just has an amazing ability to be able to use the same preparation. You can't pick that. He just slides around the side of the ball at the last instant, takes the speed off it, and gets it way up the line to produce the angle.
Game. Sampras.
Sampras holds, and we've got our second straight tiebreaker.
Tiebreak.
Brad Gilbert, Andre Agassi's coach there in the white hat. Been together a long time.
Very successful combination.
1-0, Sampras.
Well, for Andre, that's an unforced error. Oh, yes. Had to check his swing there, Agassi. And just time the swing with his step, with his foot movement. And good movement it was. Out there quick, just holds the forehand and curves it down the line.
Sampras.
Missed by a whisker, this one. He nearly pulls off the same shot or a very similar one.
And a very thin whisker too. Big point for Pete Sampras. The edge is clear early on in the tie-break.
3-1, Sampras.
And remember, in the first set tiebreaker, Agassi led 3-1.
Sampras.
And Sampras came back strongly.
Well, he's got the mini break here, serving and leading 3-2. This serve has been so good to him today. It's given him, again, a slight advantage as they go around at 4-2. He served 16 aces. Let's remember that Agassi has won this event for the last 2 years, and he's gone on to win the Australian Open for the last 2 years.
Missed it.
4-3, Sampras.
Well,
you wouldn't bet on Pete missing that overhead. Not easy for an average player, but for him it wasn't super difficult. It was one he should have made. He's led Agassi back into this.
Four-all.
No problems on that occasion. Sampras again sneaks clear. With his serve to come, a great opportunity to make it a straight sets win. 16 aces so far. And that was oh so close to 17. So the second serve on that occasion sat up and begged to be hit, and Agassi obliged.
Yeah, it did a little bit. It kicked back into the forehand of Agassi, and it gave him a great opportunity there. He went with the spin back down the line.
Sampras.
Pretty quick to get it back on track though. 17th base. Agassi saves a match point, and around they go. It's 6-all. I think this crowd willing an Agassi victory for a 3-setter.
Tom Gullickson there in the red shirt. Pete Sampras' new coach. In fact, the identical twin of Tim Gullickson, who was travelling with Pete. And there's Brad Gilbert, Agassi's coach. Tim Gullickson travelling with Pete for many years before he tragically passed away. Tom now, after Paul Annacone had a stint, is coaching Pete. So a set point, Agassi.
7-6. Agassi.
We've got a 3-setter. 1-all in tie breaks. 44 minutes though for Andre Agassi. First 2 sets befitting a final. And both decided
Final sets
by tiebreakers. Sampras serving in the decider.
Love 50. $15-all. $30-50.
Boy, what an angle there.
19 aces now.
It's impossible to get this serve back. So short and wide. That was an ace by about 1.5 meters. Didn't do enough with it, Pete. He mishit that forehand volley.
30-all. $40-30. Juice.
And Andre's body language just looking up a little bit. He's starting to push Pete a little bit on Sampras' serve. Back to Juice.
Advantage Sampras.
You think if you get to Juice enough times, eventually the chance will come your way. Sampras holding Agassi at bay with some magical serving.
Game. Sampras.
Another unplayable down the middle, and Sampras holds serve. Interesting to look.
Final set.
The big servers and how they fare in the ace department. No surprise that Goran Ivanisevic led the way at the end of 2001 from Gustavo Kuerten. Evgeny Kafelnikov was third. Wayne Arthurs in fourth place. And Pete Sampras not far away in sixth.
Well, under pressure, when it really counts, give me Pete Sampras to serve. Yeah. And his second one.
Agassi serving now with new balls.
Oh, goodness, that's a joke. That was nonchalant from Sampras.
Love 50.
Almost hits this with contempt, this drop volley. Oh, you can't help but feel the tennis might go to another level now.
Love 30.
Tremendous hitting from both players here from the back of the court. Unleashes one, Sampras. Well, this is the best period of the match so far for Pete. 3 of the best points he's played in the match so far, all in a row here to bring up love 40.
And he breaks Agassi.
Sampras.
What a way to start the deciding set.
Sampras leads 2 games to love.
Well, it's been Agassi the previous 2 sets who took the first 2 games. Now Sampras, and the one that really counts, has edged clear. 2 love, his big booming serve to come. 19 aces already in the bank.
$15 love.
Very positive too at the moment, Pete. Especially after that last game. That was the best one all match for him.
First serve. First serve.
Debris floating across the court there, plastic bag. First serve.
$30 love. $40 love.
Oh, great serving. Sampras. 2 aces to finish. Sampras on a roll. 3 love in the third.
Sampras leads 3 games to love.
So Andre Agassi striding back out onto the court. with his problems. Sampras away to a flying start in this decider. Sampras, the game's leading money winner. Agassi in third place. But he's closing very rapidly on the great Boris Becker.
$15 love.
Becker won just over 25 million. Agassi's won 23.5 million.
30 love.
Well, fifth double fault for Andre Agassi. Put that against his 3 aces. Sampras has 21 aces and 3 doubles.
Shot down the line of Agassi again. Can hit him any way you like with that backhand. Oh, good shot also, Pete.
40-30.
Well, Andre can't afford to make a mistake here. He needs to close out any of these games as soon as he can. He doesn't want to lose another break. He does with an ace. Number 4, in fact.
Sampras leads 3-1. $15 left.
Well, this is a Sampras, and he gets a lot of them out wide to that first court. Well, Pete committed early there too. Andre just, unfortunately for him, makes a mistake. Pete waits, and then all of a sudden, just before Andre hits it, he moves to his right, and there's a big gap down there that Andre misses. He doesn't miss that one.
30-15.
All of a sudden now that miss at 15 love means more. Would have been very handy here for Agassi to lead 15-30, but not to be.
$40-50. So game, Sampras.
Pete holds serve. He's in the box seat now. If he can just hold it for another 2 games, he leads 4-1 in the third. Pete Sampras with the break in this third and deciding set. He leads 4 games to 1. And he leads their head-to-head 18-14.
15 left. 30 love. Love.
Quick, decisive service game for Andre.
Well, he's got to make a move, though, Sandy, doesn't he? Two chances left.
Leads 4 games to 2.
Today's tennis action is brought to you by Seven's telecast sponsors. LG, Life's Good. Gillette Venus for Women. And AAPT Smart Chat.
Oh, a late call.
15 love.
Well, that was strange because the lines lady put her arm out but apparently made no call. Let's have a look. No questions from Andre. 15 love, Sampras.
Love.
Well, Pete obviously just didn't hear the call. The arm was definitely out from the lines lady.
Love.
Slices underneath this backhand volley just to drop it short.
Whoa! 40-50.
Well, in another sport, that would be called wide. Fourth double fault up against 22 aces.
I think they're just stretching his back as though he's put a bit of pressure on it there. Just flexing it a little bit. Maybe he strained it slightly with that last serve. Maybe not.
Yeah, Sampras.
He holds. Time is running out for Andre Agassi. He's down 2-5 in the decider. Pete Sampras looking to make the head-to-head figures look a little more impressive. 19-14. At the moment it's 18-14, but he leads, and imperative now for Andre Agassi not only to hold serve but then to try and break back. Serving to stay in the match.
Love 15. Off.
Great control with the short forehand. Just to get this up and over and down, it takes good topspin and control there. On the line, 13, I think.
15.
So the first objective here for Andre is to make Pete serve it out.
40-50.
Well, he's achieved that. But the way Sampras has been serving,
Sampras leads 5 games to 3.
it's going to be a huge hurdle for Agassi to stay in the match. It's come down to this. Sampras serving for the match at 5-3.
15 love.
Oh, it's landed in.
30 love.
Almost on the tee, I think. Or right in that corner, Sandy. I thought through the air it looked like this ball might go long. He cupped it a little bit, played it a bit safe. In the corner.
That was long.
30-15.
Well, it's fitting that ace number 23 should bring up 2 match points. His serving has been outstanding.
Thank you. Oh. 40-30.
Maybe he'll finish with one to make it an even 2 dozen.
Game to match Sampras, 2 sets to 1. 7-6.
He takes it in 3.
6-3.
Pete Sampras denies Andre Agassi a third Kooyong victory, winning the decider 6 games to 3 in 22 minutes. And I think as far as the pair is concerned, an ideal preparation for their assault once again on the Australian Open.
Yeah, I think ideal, exactly. As we know, Andre's won the last 2 here, and he's gone on to win the Open. And both of them are competitive early. Players like this don't want to peak too early, Sandy. They want to play themselves in and be playing their best tennis at the end of the second week.
Yeah.
That's what they try and time their game to do. And this is the first step. What a great day, though, for Colin Stubbs and Kooyong. Both served well, high percentage of first serves, as you'd expect. The big difference there is the aces. Pete gets so many more free points from his first serve. Andre might get as many into play, but he has to work the point then from the back of the court. What a forehand winners too from Agassi, and backhand winners, by the way, as you'd expect. Pete does most of his winning from the net. Andre does a lot of his from the back.
So both players now awaiting official proceedings to commence for the presentation, but just repeating the final scoreline here in the Commonwealth Bank International. Pete Sampras successful in 3. 7-6, 6-7, 6-3.